get it, you can succeed in other courses. And if you don't, you're going to have a very hard time at the university. Now, ASU admits about 10,000 freshmen a year. 20% of those, and completely admissible under normal university admissions criteria, but 20% of those students are not ready for college-level mathematics. Completely admissible under normal criteria, test scores, ACT, SAT, class rank, et cetera, but they aren't ready for college mathematics. And we actually assess that using one of Bruce's products, ALEX, which is an adaptive engine. We use it assessing ALEX. Now, not being ready for college-level mathematics means that you really haven't quite mastered 8th or 9th grade mathematics. So this is a big gap between what you have to do in a university and the preparation that students are coming in with. And so we have tried several things over the past several years, and the progress has been uneven. Typically, we're going to lose 35% of the students if we don't get them through a developmental math course. And so we've decided to do a couple of things. And the first thing we decided to do is we're going to quit talking to students. They have basically been talked to since 3rd grade, and they still don't get it, right? So we're moving to a completely technology-enabled developmental math sequence. And then the follow-on math courses will actually have only 75 minutes of class time, and the rest of it will also be entirely technology-enabled. The other thing we've decided to do, and I've got to preface this a little bit with what I did over my Christmas break, which was I watched my nephew play Call of Duty Black Ops. And it's a spectacular game, and every educator who watches something like that has the same feeling, which is, how come I can't make a class that would engage students organically in exactly the same way, right? It is self-paced. It has the person can choose where to go. It has achievement systems and merit badges. I was watching my nephew earn a merit badge for killing people with 6 different weapons. Okay? And so, but think about that. I mean, solve a quadratic 3 different ways, and you get a merit badge, right? So what we've decided to do, and we looked all over in order to find the right company to partner with, is we are entering into a partnership with a company called Newton that heretofore has worked primarily in the online test prep industry. And I'm saved the awkwardness of spelling their name. They actually have a poster back there, Newton, okay? Now, what Newton does is it's an adaptive engine also, but it's really kind of adaptive engines 2.0. And what they will help us to do is develop achievement systems for the course, develop a course where the students are in control of how they move through the content, develop a course where the students choose where to go, and however, they never move forward without gaining proficiency in the content. Develop a course where students get merit badges, quick wins, behavioral assessments, so that the student feels confident moving into the next part of the portal, the next part of the course. And most of all, and most importantly, develop a course that students want to engage in organically. Not because we tell them it's good medicine for you and they've got to do it, but because the material draws them in organically. And so we're very excited about it. I'll be able to come back in a year and tell you of our success rates. But we think it's a very important thing to do. So much of what we've seen at this conference already has been nibbling around the edges, but not fundamentally changing how students learn and how professors teach. And what we're trying to do with this new initiative is fundamentally change the model of learning. So, that's it.
Thanks, Phil. So, got a follow-up question for you guys in 1 second. I'm sure that all of you have follow-up questions. Please start lining up right behind Bobby. I'm going to throw out the first one. And it is, you guys have talked about some very impressive numbers here, some gains of 30% in course completion rates because of the use of analytics, because of various other technological adaptations. So haven't we just solved this problem now? What's slowing us down? Linda? Phil? I mean, why don't we just whip a little of this technology on the students and the faculty and get these 30% gains?
Well, I'll provide the introduction to what I know Mark will probably want to talk about. And that is that we have lots and lots of best practices out there in higher education, but we don't have a lot of scalability. And we tend to suffer from the not invented here syndrome. And we, in every institution and in every department, seem to have to discover these things ourselves. And I really hope with the kinds of things that the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation is doing with completion by design and the next generation learning challenges, that we are moving into an era of sharing and collaboration and learning from best practices.
Linda, is that phrase, lack of scalability in academia, kind of code word for a high value of academic freedom placed on the part of the faculty? The idea that my department has its own way of doing things, and we have our own way of doing things because we have a very specific approach and a very specific thing that we want to teach. Is that a source of resistance?
That's probably one source of resistance, but I wouldn't put all the blame on faculty.
Good.
I will say, are you done, Linda? I'd say it is code for boutique success. You know, you go to learning conferences and you find lots and lots of presentations about people who are able to make tremendous gains with 40 students. But it's simply not scalable. A lot of it does have to do with not invented here. But, you know, we need to be addressing 6,500 students a year, not 65 students a year. Otherwise, we're never going to achieve the types of goals that Obama has for the country in terms of degree completion.
Yeah, I talked about some of the successes with our Connect product, but in truth, there are probably only 10% of the folks who have actually acquired Connect who actually use it in their classrooms because, in part, lack of faculty familiarity with those ways of proceeding, in part some native conservatism about change in some areas, and in part because people look for efficacy studies to be completed before they're willing to move forward. A lot of reasons that inhibit the growth of rapid change. One of the things I think that we're finding because we talk to faculty on a one-to-one basis through our sales organization, is that all the faculty members now are feeling pressured by the students to do something different. And so there's an enormous wave of pressure that wasn't there before to change how education is conducted.
I know what we see from the foundation perspective and looking at the, you called them the boutique successes, right? I think there are islands of innovation, unbelievably successful programs around the country that are rounding error in the final analysis of completion success for our students. And I think our challenge now is to be willing to step into some courageous conversations. And part of our real challenge, Josh, I think, is the challenge that many of the higher education conversations are dominated by loud voices. You have caustic cynics who are angry about everything. It doesn't matter what you're talking about. You bring manna from heaven, too salty for them. How many of you can think of the caustic cynics in your environment, right? And if you can't think of them, you might be the caustic cynic I'm talking about. And they're only equaled in the problems they caused by the true believers. The true believers, and let's just be blunt about this, oversell and underdeliver. And what happens is you end up in this war between those two camps. And everyday folks who are just trying to do their good work within the world of education don't want to get in the middle of that. And so for many of us, it's a matter of really engaging faculty and staff and administrators in substantive conversations about, let's look at everything from